A beautiful morning to you. Thank you very much for joining us again on another edition of Press Drive on I-FLIER 103.3 FM IBADAN. How are we doing this morning? Hope we're doing fine. Welcome to the 22nd day in the month of October 2025. What have we done so far? What do we think we can achieve for the remaining days in the year 2025? No pressure. Take it at your pace. Steady, but make sure that you're progressing. Make sure that you are doing something for yourself. Yes, once again, welcome to Press Drive on I-FLIER 103.3 FM IBADAN. Remember, it's on Press Drive. We take you through headlines making rounds in the national dailies this morning. As usual, I have the Punch and the Nation newspapers. We'll start with the headlines before we move to details of the stories we want to look at this morning. Joining me for analysis is Honorable Femi at DBC. When it's time, you get to hear his voice. You can be a part of the conversation on Press Drive. You can call the studio lines, which I'll open when it's time. On Facebook, you can watch us live at I-FLIER 103.3 FM live. At I-FLIER 103.3 FM live. Like, share, follow us, and if you want to react to any of the stories this morning, do feel free to drop a comment right there on our Facebook page. All right, let's begin the ride this morning without wasting time. I said I have the Punch newspaper and the Nation newspaper. We'll start with the headlines before we move to details of the stories we want to look at this morning. And yes, let's delve into the newspapers already because we can waste time. And one of the top headlines right there on the Punch newspaper: Convention, Lamido, Turaki, McAfee lead PDP chairman race. Convention, Lamido, McAfee lead PDP chairman race. Presidential pardon, AGF orders multi-agency probe. Presidential pardon, AGF orders multi-agency probe. Diri delays APC move amid Siva Lokbobiri power talks. Diri delays APC move amid Sivia Lokbobiri power talks. Presidency can clash over Christian genocide claim. Presidency and can clash over Christian genocide claim. Still on the Punch newspaper this morning, Amukwiton resumes next week ahead of Anambra poll. Amukwiton resumes next week ahead of Anambra poll. Supreme Court reserves judgment in PDP suit challenging Rivers emergency rule. Supreme Court reserves judgment in PDP suit challenging Rivers emergency rule. Strike. NARD meets Saturday to review federal government response. Strike. NARD meets Saturday to review federal government's response. Still going through headlines on the Punch newspaper. DSS alert army to planned ISWAP attack in Ondo and Kogi State. DSS alert army to planned ISWAP attack in Ondo and Kogi State. Court nullifies Ebonyi local government poll, sacks 13 council chairmen. Court nullifies Ebonyi local government poll, sacks 13 council chairmen. Still on the Punch newspaper, Senate stipulates life jail for child molesters. Senate stipulates life jail for child molesters. Collapse Nigeria into zones. Ex-envoy tells federal government. Collapse Nigeria into zones. Ex-envoy tells federal government. Abiodun promises budgetary support for cancer awareness campaign. And away from that, National Assembly okays mine rangers to tackle illegal mining. National Assembly okays mine rangers to tackle illegal mining. Federal government empowers 39,000 Katsina MSMEs with 2.5 billion naira grants. Naira grants. Reps question HIV/AIDS burden despite $4.6 billion foreign aid. Reps question HIV/AIDS burden despite $4.6 billion foreign aid. Shettima vacates seat for one-day vice president. Shettima vacates seat for one-day vice president. Reps wade into Edo Delta boundary dispute. Reps wade into Edo Delta boundary dispute. You came prepared for governance. Ododo hails Oyebanji. You came prepared for governance. Ododo hails Oyebanji. Almajiri, northern stakeholders seek end to street begging. Almajiri, northern stakeholders seek end to street begging. Let's go through the last of headlines on the Punch newspaper this morning. Tinubu nominates Doro to replace Iwatda as humanitarian minister. Tinubu nominates Doro to replace Iwatda as humanitarian minister. Senate urges federal government to increase soldiers' 50,000 naira entry salary. Oti's wife vows girl-child protection in Abia. Oti's wife vows girl-child protection in Abia. Ex-Imo lawmaker urges constituents to register for PVC. Ex-Imo lawmaker urges constituents to register for PVC. And finally, on the Punch newspaper this morning, Sanwo-Olu, Fashola, Ambode, Lagos APC endorse Tinubu's re-election. Sanwo-Olu, Fashola, Ambode, Lagos APC endorse Tinubu's re-election. Let's move to the Nation newspaper for its headlines very quickly. And one of the top headlines staring at me on the Nation newspaper was what I read last in the Punch newspaper as regards its headlines. Sanwo-Olu, Fashola, Ambode lead Lagos APC to endorse Tinubu for second term. Behold, one-day vice president. Behold, one-day vice president. Kuka, why Nigeria should not be linked to religious genocide. Kuka says why Nigeria should not be linked to religious genocide. 35 die in Niger tanker explosion. 35 die in Niger tanker explosion. Reps to Edo Delta government resolve boundary crisis through dialogue. Reps to Edo Delta government resolve boundary crisis through dialogue. Lagos APC decries deteriorating state of opposition. Lagos APC decries deteriorating state of opposition. Suspected Ansaru leaders Usman's Abbas terrorism trial postponed to November 19th. Suspected Ansaru leaders Usman's Abbas terrorism trial postponed till November 19th. 81 Cross River indigents returned from United States, UK, Ghana, Uganda, others. 81 Cross River indigents returned from US, UK, Ghana, Uganda, Tinubu. Judgment set for October 31st in suit against PDP's National Convention. Judgment set for October 31st in suit against PDP's National Convention. Protest. Police charge Kanu's lawyer, brother, 10 others. Protest. Police charge Kanu's lawyer, brother, 10 others. Supreme Court reserves verdict on PDP governor's emergency rule suit. Supreme Court reserves verdict. Nation newspaper this morning. Stakeholders urge federal government to abolish the death penalty. Stakeholders urge federal government to abolish the death penalty. Yes, it's time to delve into the details of the stories we want to look at this morning. I mentioned earlier that our analyst is right here with me in the studio. Good morning to you, Honorable Femi at DBC. It's good to have you.
Oh, my pleasure, Queen Esther. Good morning. How was the night?
Fine, thank you.
And good morning, Nigerians. You're welcome to the program once again.
When it's time. On Facebook, you can watch us live at I-FLIER 103.3 FM live. At I-FLIER 103.3 FM live. Remember to like, share, follow us, and to react to the stories this morning by dropping your comment on our Facebook page. All right, without wasting time, let's delve into so we'll start from there. So I'm going to take the stories together so that you can react once and for all. I'll start with this. Presidency can clash over Christian genocide claim. The Christian Association of Nigeria on Monday accused the presidency of misrepresenting its position on the alleged killing of Christians in Nigeria, describing a statement released after a recent meeting with presidential aide Daniel Bwala as false, misleading, and insensitive. Khan said the presidency version of the meeting gave the false impression that the association dismissed claims of a Christian genocide in Nigeria, a position it described as completely untrue and unfair. But reacting to Khan during an interview on Arise television on Tuesday, Bwala maintained his stance, insisting that there is no Christian genocide under the current administration of President Bola Tinubu. The presidential aide contended that the report Khan based its claim of genocide on was outdated. Now, this controversy followed a visit by Bwala, the Senate Special Advisor to the President on Media and Public Policy Communication, to the Khan Secretariat at the National Christian Center, Abuja, on Monday, October 20th, 2025. And following the visit, a statement titled "Presidency Debunks Western Christian Genocide Narrative in Dialogue with Khan Leadership" circulated online, quoting Khan President Archbishop Daniel Oko as allegedly describing the crisis as a so-called genocide. Reacting on Tuesday, Archbishop Oko said the portrayal of the meeting was a deliberate attempt to distort fact and downplay the suffering of Christians who have been victims of repeated attacks across the country. So presidency can clash over Christian genocide claim. This next story, so we can put it together. DSS alert army to planned ISWAP attack in Ondo and Kogi State. The Department of State Services has alerted the Nigerian army to an alleged plot by members of the Islamic State of West African Province to launch coordinated attacks on communities in Ondo and Kogi State. In a confidential letter addressed to the commander of the 32 Artillery Brigade, Akure, and cited by Punch's correspondent, the DSS warned of imminent attacks by ISWAP terrorists and urged heightened surveillance and security deployment across vulnerable areas. According to the document, the targeted communities in Ondo State include Eriti Akoko and Oyakoko in Akoko Northwest Local Government Area, as well as Owo Town, headquarters of Owo Local Government Area. Okay, and the particular story goes on and on. The security agency called for immediate action by the army and other relevant forces to prevent the attacks, stressing the importance of community vigilance. DSS alerts army to planned ISWAP attack in Ondo and Kogi State. All right, let's put those two stories together very clearly.
Beginning with the CAN's position as against that of the federal government concerning what you call
Christian genocide.
Christian genocide. Well, I think this calls for restraints, in the sense that we all know that as a nation we are facing a crisis that has to do with terrorism. Not only terror, not just religious terrorism. It's like everybody is being terrorized in the country in dimensions. It's a confluence. You have all these physical attacks by bandits and the so-called Boko Haram and all those stuff. You have the economic terrorism, you have the political terrorism, you have terrorism by the wealthy against the poor and all that. So it's like we are just like that. But we have to be very careful in the designation of Nigeria as a country of particular concerns. And that is where that particular story stems from. It's like, it's like you want to say heaven will fall. So it's likely to fall on everyone. Because designating Nigeria as a country of particular concerns come with, various economic and diplomatic, effects. So, and that's the reason why you see people like Baba Hassan Martin Kuka, saying that, look, we have to be very careful. So we should not encourage that the United States, designate Nigeria as a country of particular concern. It is very, but some people have been arguing that, look, Muslims are being killed more than the Christian, but people is people. Nigerians are Nigerians. No life is worth, being lost to terrorism. But unfortunately, the harsher continues with each new day. It becomes more amplified when churches are being attacked, especially at big occasions like overnight, crossover night and all those. We've witnessed it. But of course, we also witness, doses of what they call attacks on Muslim settlements, especially there was a particular Muslim wedding that was taking place somewhere, and of course, most of them were wiped off. So what you are facing in Nigeria, is like, very clear. And if you are going to sort it out, I don't think we need the assistance of anybody from without the country. So it has to be from within. It's all about us, and we can always resolve our crisis whenever we choose to do so. So now we have to put more pressure on the government. They've been trying their best when it comes to kinetic, approach to all this. But of course, we still need national dialogue, and I don't know the reason why the government is afraid of convoking the meeting of the people to re-examine the status of the nation. Only one problem is breeding all this. And what do I mean? What do I mean? I'm talking of a situation whereby political power does not stem from bottom up as it is supposed to be under a democracy. Power is now from up down, and somebody that is high up now from up down, and somebody that is high up there is not likely to know. What is going on down there. So power has to evolve from the grassroots and not devolved from the top. That is the way it's supposed to be. What am I saying in everything at the same time? So democracy is all about people serving people, not about Mr. President serving the entire Nigeria. It's not likely to be possible. So it has to be people serving people. All of us has to be our own police. So when you are each other's brother's keeper, you will not mind whether he's a Muslim or a Christian. You will not mind whether he's an atheist or he's a free man or whatever you are. People is people. Honestly, God created people and not from Nigeria. Why can't we just listen to them once and for all? Why can't we just they said judge is better than war. So all this can't say that, look, there's genocide or there's no genocide. Whether you are a Christian or not, the genocide is genocide, and it is against the people. So I'm a pastor, of course, but I don't need to take side in all this. So people is people, and that is that.
All right, thank you very much. Let's come to this. Marjorie, northern stakeholders seek end to street begging. Stakeholders in Sokoto State have called for an urgent overhaul of the Marjorie system, warning that the growing number of child beggars poses grave security and social threat to the north and Nigeria as a whole. Speaking at a high-level dialogue organized by the Sokoto Advancement Forum on Monday, participants including academics, security chiefs, and government officials described the situation as a ticking time bomb that requires coordinated and practical interventions. Vice Chairman of SAF and former Vice Chancellor of Usmanu Danfodio University, Professor Riskuwa Shehu, said the meeting was convened to design actionable strategies to curb child begging, protect vulnerable children, and integrate them into formal education and social welfare systems. And that story goes on and on. Now, citing research, Shehu disclosed that Sokoto State has one of the highest concentrations of Amajiri children in Nigeria, estimated between 100,000 and 400,000 living in extreme vulnerability. So let's look at that.
Well, frankly, if you study that concept, there's nothing that's wrong with Amajiris. They call it Tangawa education in those days. It's a kind of Quranic studies whereby, people from far away, they'll bring their children, even from Mali, from other parts of West Afghanistan, they bring their children to come and study Quranic education in a concentration, something that look like concentration camp. So they are like, it's a kind of, they'll get an hostel, teach the people. But of course, that particular, system failed at the end of the day, because people were no longer, able to run that particular system the way they are supposed to run it. Ordinarily, they were supposed to get those children there, teach them Quranic education, teach them morals, so that, and by the time they graduate into some people that will become balanced adults that will be able to contribute to the growth of. That was the original design of Tangaya education that is called Amajiri. But of course it failed at the end of the day, because politicians saw that as a way. The people to be blamed are the northern leaders, and they are the same set of people that are crying today. They are the same set of people that are saying that, look, we are being terrorized, government should do it. So who started it? So the northern leaders are to be called to questions. They need to question themselves, and once they make up their mind, they can always get rid of that. The Dangotes and all those, they are there now. Why can't you say, okay, for every child is free education from A to Z? So get them, good hostels, give them smart classrooms, child-friendly classrooms. To the extent, in fact, at a particular point in time, even in the southwest here, people didn't go to school much at a particular time. So now, what was done by the government here. In fact, once you graduate from secondary school and you step into what you call either teacher training, NCE, school of nursing, whatever, they give them salary here. I benefited from that a bit. You take salary, even those students here. So it has happened to us. Why can't they just go and meet in the north as leaders? So, and leave the people out of what you call, leave them out of what you call mass illiteracy in the north. And that's why you see a set of people, constituting a whole lot of burden to the rest of the society. So it is the fault of the northern leader, and it is simple. The reason why they do that is because they want a kind of master to servant relationship. That has been happening in the north for a while, and they need to eradicate that. It is important.
All right, thank you very much. Let's come to this story. Senate stipulates life jail for child molesters. The Senate on Tuesday passed a bill describing life imprisonment for anyone, male or female, found guilty of sexually defiling minors, in a move to stem the rising tide of child sexual abuse across the country. The passage of the bill comes amid mounting concerns over increasing cases of pedophilia and child molestation, which have left many victims physically and psychologically scarred. Reports from right groups and law enforcement agencies in recent years show that Nigeria has witnessed an alarming surge in cases involving children as young as 5 being sexually assaulted by adults, including family members, teachers, and clerics. Presenting the motion, Senator Adams Oshomole APC Edo North stressed that the offense of defiling a minor should be treated differently from that of raping an adult. Okay, then let me quote him right now. I propose 20 years penalty for anyone found guilty. There are disturbing cases involving children as young as 5 or 10, Oshamole said. Deputy Senate President Senator Jibril Barau also supported the motion, insisting that offenders should face punishment without the option of a fine. Although Oshamole's initial 20-year jail term proposal gained traction, it was later rejected after Senator Mohammed Alero, Kebbi Central, urged or argued that the punishment should be stiffer to serve as a deterrent. His position was immediately backed by Senator Solomon Adiola, who maintained that the gravity of the crime warranted the maximum penalty. When the Senate President, Godswill Akpabio, put the motion to a voice vote, the ayes were overwhelmingly in the majority. And then Akpabio declared, and I'm quote, I hereby move that henceforth any man or woman who is guilty of defiling a minor should be sentenced to life imprisonment. Alright, so that's the story. Senate stipulates life jail for child molesters.
Well, of course, I think I key into this kind of arrangement. I love it so much because the spate of defining minors have been going on for a long time here. But of course, at the end of the day, we are still going to have problem with it. The reason is this, and it's simple. The penal code in the north suggests that at the age of 12 you can even get married to a child. So there's child marriage that is permitted under penal code in the north. Yet you are talking about defining minors. So who are designated as children under 18, who cannot take correct informed decisions on their own. So they are still under parental guide as touching what to do in terms of decision. So on a general note, we are saying that okay, because under the law, as we are speaking, at least the ripe age for marriage will be from 18 up. But in the north, is it obtained? So you are going to have that conflict of what we call jurisprudence. So that's number one. Then number two, yes, when you sentence them to life imprisonment, they constitute further burden on the society or further strains on the economy of the country. And even that we are running our correctional center in such a way that we engage them in productive activities while in the prison, so that at least they bring something. Why not farming? So we just keep them there. It becomes a breeding place of further criminality, because there is, you find you at the end of the day you find out that you have convergence of criminals even within the prison, and from within the prison they still perpetrate crimes even against the rest of the society. So, but if you put them to use in such a manner that they are engaging in various activities and making them productive to the nation, I think I would prefer life sentence, so that you create another world for them. But if that is not going to be, yes, I will suggest that immediately they get somebody, let them castrate them. Yes, if they are castrated, yes, of course, what do you want, Refania? So they won't be able to engage in that again. So, and they will serve as deterrent to others, and that is that. So rather than keeping them somewhere whereby they will still be feeding on the nation and living on the nation endlessly. So that's another one. Yes, of course, it's good that they are thinking this way. Why not also our Senate prescribing what to call life sentence for electoral offenders as well? It's like they are taking electoral offenses so lightly. While you have industrial court for labor crisis, you have what you call this economic EFCC thing, you have various court for various reasons. Why not designated court for what you call electoral offenders? And electoral offense should be treated as treason. So they need to do that, because the reason why they are not doing that is because they themselves are involved. So we need that as well. Kudos to the National Assembly for going that way. I also want them to go the other way.
I know we're aware of the hashtag Free Nnamdi Kanu protest, Free Nnamdi Kanu Now protest, which happened on Monday. Now let's come to this update. Protest. Police charge Kanu's lawyer, brother, 10 others. 13 protesters were yesterday charged by the police for their roles in the hashtag Free Nnamdi Kanu Now demonstration, People of Biafra, Nnamdi Kanu, and Prince Emmanuel, a sibling of the key agitator for Biafra. Others charged in two separate first information reports, their names were mentioned. Now, while the first 12 suspects, including Ejimak and Prince Kanu, are listed in one of the FIRs, Onucheku is listed as the sole suspect in the other. Okay, and this goes on and on. Now, the 13 were charged with criminal conspiracy, disobedience of an order promulgated by a public officer, inciting disturbance and disturbance of public peace. The police said the offences are contrary to sections 152, 114, and 132 of the Penal Code law. And the FIRS goes thus. It's actually a very long read, but let me not go into that. Ejimako, in a post on his X handle, alleged that the magistrate declined to hear their submissions but insisted that they should remain in Kuje prisons till Friday.
Well, yes, I'm not a lawyer, but then, I know that what I learned or what I read was that, hastily, the magistrate just said, okay, go and keep them somewhere. But of course, it had been that their lawyer was there in the nick of time, maybe that wouldn't have been the case. But of course, the judge wouldn't wait for anybody. So, and I wouldn't want to believe that they restrain their lawyers from entering the court and raising his own submission as well. But of course, I think well, Friday is very close anyway.
Okay.
Then of course, the particular case disturbing something like disturbing the public space.
Yes. Public peace.
Yes. When you say protest is permitted under the law. That's number one. And of course, there's no way you protest that there won't be a bit of infringement on the public space. I think what they should be charged for is anything that arises from that particular breach of public space or you are talking about. Have they committed an offense that is notable? Has anybody brought any notice to the police? So that's a major concern. And of course, I read by Onanoga, the president's spokesperson, yes, saying that how should a lawyer be in that kind of protest? I think that is erroneous. Yes, we've seen cases of the foreigners of this world. They are law accountable leading protest. They are also Nigerians. They are also affected by various actions of the government as well. So I don't see much substance in whatever Bayonoga was saying. So that let alone, I think in this case, I think the government should be very careful. And the fact is simple. What the government was saying is that they shouldn't go into a restricted area. So they are restricted Aso Rock. They wanted the thing at Aso Rock. If I were the president, I'm telling you, I will gain popularity. I will come out. By the time he comes out, I'm telling you, he will gain more respect. But our president, they don't do things like that. They consider themselves not as popular as they think. When they say it that they are popular, I mean, they know that they don't have that street credibility. Before the president goes somewhere or the governor, you would have seen that they would have locked down that place 1 hour before their arrival. They would lock the entire space. Now, who is now locking the public space? So they are the one. There's no way the president will be going somewhere. You see that place locked down. Are they not infringing on people's rights? Now, somebody is talking. So I want an attention of my president. And he said there's no place. In fact, that place is not an exclusive place of Mr. President. It's Nigerian house. And they are also Nigerians. There should be access. Our president shouldn't be caged. There should be access to our president, for God's sake. And of course, I'm still also mindful of security anyway. But of course, they are the one that are believing that they are not secured. Because they know that they are not widely accepted. That is the problem they have. So, but if I were Mr. President, I'm telling you, how would I come out? And I don't know the reason why. In the case of Kano, I don't know why that case still lingers till date, for God's sake. And we are yet to dispose of that case. And Nigeria keeps spending money. They keep spending the money that is meant for Nigerians. on that particular place. The more the case linger, the more the money they spend, the more the tension, the more the apprehension. So if you are going to jail him, let us know, jail him. Let's know that he's in jail already. If you are going to free him. Why keeping him somewhere for God's sake, and then using technicalities to prolong the matter over and over again? And of course we keep saying it, and it's all of us admitted, including Mr. President, that justice delayed is justice denied. Why are you denying justice? The more you deny justice, the more you are, you yourself technically is breaching the peace of the society, because there be apprehension, there be suspicion, and there are a lot of things. So they need to dispose this case. Helper's case was disposed of under 9 months, for God's sake. So what is wrong with Kano's case? So it's not only Kano again. There's another one. I can't readily. I think only Sametu. I don't know for how long they are going to try the case of a case of fraud. It's still not till date. Why are we like that in the country? What's wrong with that jurisprudence? Something needs to be done.
All right, thank you very much. I think we can take this story before we go on a quick break because of time. AGF, okay, let me say presidential pardon. AGF orders multi-agency probe. The Attorney General of the Federation and Minister of Justice, Prince Lateef Fagbemi SAN, has ordered a multi-agency review of presidential pardon list. The Punch has learnt. Involved in the probe of the list are the Economic and Financial Crimes Commission, National Drug Law Enforcement Agency, and the police. The exercise may result in more than half of the nominees being dropped. President Bola Tinubu is said to be awaiting the submission of the vetted list for his final endorsement amid efforts to ensure only eligible beneficiaries were cleared. The president had, in the exercise of his constitutional powers, granted clemency to 175 persons convicted of various offences. The pardon was announced by the Attorney General of the Federation, Lateef Fagbemi SAN, at the Council of the State meeting held on Thursday, October 9th, 2025. He listed illegal minors, white-collar convict, drug offenders, foreigners, Major General Maman Vatsa, Professor Magaji Garba, Ken Saro-Wiwa, and the Ogoni 8, as well as capital offenders such as Miriam Sada, among the 175 convict and former convict who received presidential pardon. All right, and the full list was released on October 11th, 2025. However, the inclusion of some names on the list sparked controversy as security, law enforcement, and anti-graft agencies opposed the presence of certain high-profile offenders. The EFCC, ICPC, NDLEA, police, among others, reportedly moved to halt the release of some individuals on the list. But then Fagbemi on October 16th, however, clarified that the presidential prerogative of mercy recently announced by the president was still under review and had not been finalized. So the headline says, presidential pardon, AGF orders multi-agency probe. But before we take your reactions, please, let's quickly go on a quick break. We'll come back, we'll react to that. And of course, we'll open the phone lines to take your reactions to our dear listeners.
Have you heard about Pending Hotels and Event Place? The Pending Hotels and Event Place is your spot for relaxation and entertainment, featuring an exquisite bar where a collection of tasteful drinks and cocktails are served. Enjoy your meals at the lounge restaurant with a comfort, equipped with modern facilities including 24-hour power supply and Wi-Fi connection. It also has an event hall to host an array of events from birthdays, wedding ceremonies, and anniversaries. Need more fun? Pending Nightclub opens every Saturday at 11 p.m. with maximum security guarantee. Pending Event and Hotel Place is located at number 33B, Jinarere Ishebo Alakia. Contact us via email at info@pendinghotels.com, on Instagram at Pending Hotels. Call us on 0705 442 2968. Pending Hotels and Event Place, the perfect relaxation spot.
Don't you give up. Don't you give up.
An investment in knowledge pays the best interest. It is imperative that parents prioritize education for the growth and future of their children by enrolling them to a school that can help develop their capacity and potentials.
I-FLIER provide a serene environment, accommodating reception, well-equipped laboratory for biology, physics and chemistry, fully furnished classrooms, counseling rooms, e-library, halls for conferences, institutions, standby generator, mini-mart, among others.
Yes!
I-FLIER International School
can boast of inspiring inspiring, captivating curriculum, academic excellence, social amenities and structures, as well as dedicated teachers who are more than ready to train your children academically and morally.
Admission is ongoing. Enroll your child to a primary and secondary classes today and enjoy the dividends of modern and quality education.
Join the high-flying team and visit us today at Unit 1 to 5, I-FLIER College Road, Ogungbade, Ibadan. For further inquiry, call 0815-815-8707
or 0805-331-6634. I-FLIER International School.
Nurturing I-FLIERs.
We appreciate you for staying with us. All right, let's take your reaction, Honorable, on that particular story. Or would you like me to take the headline again?
Okay.
All right. Presidential pardon, AGF. All right.
Audience,
all right,
to know what we are talking
again.
about.
Right.
Yes. Well, concerning that particular presidential pardon list, of which the Attorney General, Prince Lateef Fagbemi, I feel for him anyway. Is constituting multi-dimensional, committees to look into another multi-agency probe and all that. That is what they ought to do in the first instance. And of course, I don't think they even need it. You see, not as if they did not do their due diligence. They did. But what to find out was that names were smuggled into that particular list.
Smuggled.
That was the thing. That was the issue. They need to tell the truth. And the person I'm going to blame is Femi Gbajabiamila. Yes, he happened to be the last man standing. Whenever any document is going to Mr. President, you have to see him. It's the conduit. But of course, that particular conduit is a bit corrupt. Or, let me say, not competent. Or, let me say, not reliable. Mr. President need to blame me for that. Because not all the time Mr. President will have the time to go through everything. But of course, he told us at the end of the year, he has told us anyway, that of course, every box up on this table. But I told him that, it will never happen. Your head will burst. Yes, no human has the capacity, to treat Nigeria that way. You have to get trusted people. So, those people, are they trusted? That is the question we need to ask ourselves. They have brought a whole lot of mess, locally and internationally. A reputational damage on the president. And it shouldn't be so. Those people are not reliable. You see, there are some powerful cabals within that Zorok that are perpetrating all this and forcing even the Attorney General to even concur with them. So, of course, it's a terrible thing if you go deeper into that. So, of course, National Assembly, they have another role to play in this. You have to limit. There must be a benchmark for the set of people that should have access or enjoy what you call presidential pardon, not criminals. It should be maybe prisoners of war, people that suffers, judicial miscarriage, and some other, some other, cases, flimsy one for that matter. So not drug offenders. Do you know the kind of reputational damage that has considered both locally and internationally on our president? Do you know? Especially if you look at the pre-election, maybe the presidential election petition, drug thing and all those, appeared in the cases against our president, and then you now see this thing happen. Which an ordinary man want to say, okay, he's pardoning people that. So it's a whole lot of mess around Mr. President, and the president shouldn't allow that to continue to happen. So who are those people that are not competent? So let the president remove them. Are they removed? And another thing again, presidential immunity too. They need to look into it. Even presidential immunity. Our president, governors, and their deputies should not be immune against any case that is criminal. They can be immune against any cases that is civil. But when it comes to criminality, they should not be immune. Otherwise, what you are saying is that, okay, Mr. President, we have elected you. You can steal money, you can mismanage anything, and we will not ask you question until when you get out of the place. Then the deed would have been done. The damage would have been done in such a manner that it will be irreversible, and it will have a toll on the entire country and the people. So, there are a few things we need to look at around that particular issue.
All right, thank you very much. Let's open the phone lines at this point to take your reactions, our dear listeners. 0705 500 1033 0905 444 1033 0705 500 1033 0905 444 1033. On our Facebook page, you can drop a comment right there at I-FLIER 103.3 FM live. At I-FLIER 103.3 FM live. Part B, please, your attention is needed in the live studio. Please do call us back. Alright, 0705 500 1033, 0905 444 1033. We have a few minutes to wrap up with Press Drive this morning, so we want to take as much reactions as we can. Hello, good morning. Hello, good morning. Oops, why is it dropping? Please do call back. I hope the network is favorable this morning. 0705 500 1033, 0905 444 1033. Let's take your reactions this, but I don't want us to take any more stories because of time. Hello, good morning.
Hello, good morning.
Good morning to you, sir. You're welcome, sir.
Yes, ma'am. Good morning, sir.
Good morning, my pastor. How are you, sir?
Good morning, sir. I'm speaking from Alatia.
You're welcome, sir.
Sir, on the issue of alignment, I just want to make my own contribution. I could still remember vividly that she probably was told Amadu Bello, the Kadana of Sokoto in the French Republic. He told him point. She not.
The network is really. Hello, Pastor Edili.
Yeah, I think it should call back.
Alright, please do call back, and you can try the other line. If one of the lines are not going through, you can try the second line. 0705 500 1033, 0905 444 1033. Hello, good morning.
Hello, good morning. I am Mr. Caleb Alabi from Alakashabo.
You're welcome, sir.
I just want to give this to National Assembly for proposing that impeachment for sexual offender. But that one is not enough, because if they put them in prison, they will be continue feeding on government money. I hope the best thing is to go to the way of Pakistan, who propose sexual chemically incarceration for sexual offender. Also, we should go to put them to productive use, so that motivate them to farm for the country, so that that's why we give their money for the country. Secondly, I want to give police to rep for quick intervention into the boundary dispute between Delta and Edo State. That's my comment. Okay, next working day.
Thank you very much, Mr. Caleb. We appreciate your comment. Remember, you can drop a comment on our Facebook page at I-FLIER 103.3 FM Live. Let's go on Facebook, but of course we can still take more calls as the calls come in. I have this from Mrs. Adedamola Okolola. Says, beautiful morning to you. With the rate of killings and insecurity in Nigeria, particularly in the northern part, the federal government should find a lasting solution to it. Though it's looking like a particular region is at the receiving end, but the most important thing is those affected are Nigerians. So the federal government should safeguard the lives of its citizens. Thank you very much. Busui Israel Ajewale says, good morning. All right. I have this from Olaumi Okparinde. Says, good morning. Well done. Thank you for your comment. Hello, good morning. Again, because that will be another one coming from Mr. Kola Olademo Adaramola. I've taken one already. Let's come to Mr. Tululokwa Adeyemi. I'll take one too. He says, good morning. The attitude of the Nigerian police force towards the protesters few days ago, where it was alleged that live ammunitions were fired against unarmed Nigerians, is highly despicable, because protest is a fundamental human right and not a privilege. And I believe people wouldn't have occupied the streets if the federal government had obeyed the several court judgment that has freed Nnamdi Kanu. Flaunting court judgment by the federal government is a bad habit. Alright, thank you very much for your comment. Aroni Yahaya says, good morning. Alright, this is the part where we draw the curtain on my press drive this morning. Thank you very much, Honorable Fema Dipsi.
My pleasure, Conesta.
Thank you.
Have a beautiful day.
You also. Thank you very much to all our listeners, our callers.